gods. Peace to the gods. Come on in the room, family. My mystics and mental gymnasts out tonight, huh? Master Fundi Fee in the house. Queen Meek Truth Seeker in the house. Yasmin Bay. Ina Sanders. The gods is out tonight. Yeah. Divine vibes is right. Melanated high priestess in this bitch. Yeah. Larissa Eli Vickers. Oh yeah, we going in. We going in. I bow to you, Master Fundi Fee. My divinity is within in the building. You can't make this shit up. Empress Trini. Peace, peace. All right. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Crystal Healing Vibrations. I am your host, Crystal Heal. On tonight's audio, I want to talk to you guys about demystifying mysticism. It's come to my awareness that though I put mystics and mental gymnasts only as a disclosure to most of my audios, that a lot of people don't really understand exactly what mysticism is. And then there are those who understand what mysticism is and the mystic belief or the mystic perspective. However, all of the concepts are not quite as clear and precise in our mind as they should be. And so on tonight, I'm going to attempt to demystify mysticism and make it very plain and simple in a way that hopefully even a child can understand. That way, through the course of this audio, Fundi Fee, thank you, sister. Thank you, sister. Contributions are greatly appreciated. So on the course of this audio, hopefully you'll be able to fine-tune your idea as it relates to mysticism. Now, again, mysticism is not a doctrine. It's not a religion. It is the foundation of all doctrines, dogmas, and religions. Okay? So I want to be very, very clear on that point. Let me go ahead and pull up my next picture. As usual, you guys work with me on this here. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys my quick disclaimer, because I want it to be very, very clear that on this platform, by no means am I telling you to follow what I have found to be true in my life and through my experience. It is for each and every one to find his or her own truth. Understand? Now, I understand that truth is singular. All other versions of truth are simply mistruth. However, how that truth is processed by each individual's mind is determined by that individual. So you have to find your truth. All I'm doing here, to be clear, is basically expressing my thoughts and my ideas, not to be adopted by you, but only to be pitted against your ideas and your thoughts. And if found to be true, incorporated, and if not found to be true by your experience, your temperament, and your discernment skills, then it is to be thrown out. That is with me and with anybody else. I do not care who they are or where they come from. You check everything up against the God that is within you. Now, continuing on, that I've gotten that out the way. Just wanted to be clear, I'm nobody's teacher. I'm just a thought sharer. Now, I put this quote before you. It says, the mystic is swimming in the same water that the psychotic is drowning in, by Joseph Campbell. It has also been said that the mystic is swimming in the same water with delight that the psychotic is drowning in. And indeed, that is the truth. There's a very, very thin line between mysticism and psychosis. Now, again, I'm sure that we all can think of one clear example. I'm not going to say any names, but we can all think of one clear example of mysticism gone wrong. So it is very important that one process mysticism in a healthy way in order to gain the power and apply that power in a beneficial way for the human and the God family. Now, that is very true. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm using the theme of the water, at least at first, to show you guys mysticism made simply. Scripture says that we understand the invisible things by the things that are made manifest. We understand the visible things by the things that are made manifest. So if we want to understand anything about the incorporeal world, that world that is beyond our five senses, then we must look at the world that is within the reach of our five senses. And this works because they are mirror images of each other. Okay? As above, so below. As within, so without. As manifested, so unmanifested. Grasp. It's a deep thing. Now, I have put before you an ocean wave. This ocean wave here is to symbolize who you think that you are. Okay? The fundamental belief of mysticism is this. It's encapsulated in this scripture. I and my Father are one. Now, I know a lot of you gender neutral people out there are thinking, well, it's not Father. But I want you to understand why it was said my Father. Yes, God is androgynous. Yes, the universe is androgynous. The higher power, the oversoul, whatever name you give it, it is androgynous. It has a male and a female aspect to itself. But I want you to understand that it is the male aspect that we are speaking about when we say my Father and I are one, because you in and of yourself are more or less the female aspect. Grasp. As the spirit, which is the Father, it penetrates and animates matter, which is the mother, matter, mother. You see? And so we're not talking about the matter aspect of God. It is clear that we are one with our matter aspect. There are many people who are very well aware that they are their body, so they think anyhow. But what we're talking about is the male aspect, the spirit that penetrates the matter. You and the Spirit of God are one. That is the crux of the mystic belief. Now, back to this here wave. Excuse me. This wave that you see displayed before you on this screen can be likened to what we call ego. If you were ever curious about what ego actually is, I want you to think about this wave from now on. You see, this wave, we can call this wave right here crystal. Okay? This wave has an existence separate from the ocean. We can call the ocean God, or the higher power, the higher self, the universe, the oversoul, the all, whatever you want to call it. Okay? Now, for when we say that I am God, I want y'all to really grasp that that is politically incorrect. That is politically incorrect. And yes, I have been guilty of saying it in that way. But I've come to the realization that a lot of people can get really, really confused when you say it that way. The reality is that you are not God, but God is you. I know that was a little deep for a lot of you. But you are not God, but God is you. You see, you is this ocean wave. You see, the wave is not the ocean. That would be incorrect to say that the wave is the ocean, because it is not. There's much more to the ocean than just that simple wave. You see, that wave is what we call ego. But we can say in all truth and honesty that the ocean is the wave. The ocean is every single one of the waves, matter of fact. So you see, in the same way, one cannot say that I am God. That's equivalent to the ocean saying, that's equivalent to the wave saying, I am the ocean. It is false. However, the ocean is indeed each and every one of the waves. You understand what I'm saying? And so when we say that I am God, what we really mean to say is that my substance, my thought, the very essence of my being is God. However, your existence as a wave, separate from the ocean, is an illusion. See, you can't be separate from from God. In the same way that a wave does not exist outside of the ocean. You see, in the ocean, you live, move, and have your being, little wave. And in the same way, the scripture says that us little humans, in God, in Christ, we live, move, and have our being. Do you understand? We are all members of one body. Let me pull up another picture for you guys. I hope this is making sense. Okay. Here we go. See, you see what this picture I've placed before you? It's a choppy ocean is what it is. There's many waves. You see them waves? I want you to understand that your reality around you is just like them waves. You see, besides God, there is no other here. That means that each and every wave, the wave may look like a couch, the wave may look like a human, the wave may look like a floor, a sun, a planet, a moon, a bird, a star. I don't care what the wave looks like, it's still made of ocean. You understand? And so the fact that you think you are separate from God is the only thing that separates you from God. And by proxy, that separates you from your peace, your joy, and your abundance, your inheritance. As a child of the Creator, as one with the Creator. Is this making any sense? So each say we if you look at this picture before you, we can name these waves different names. One could be named Crystal, one could be named Sarah, one could be named Robert, one could be named Billy. And they do have a separate existence. You see, the wave named Billy don't look like the wave named Robert. It may have even emerged at a different time than the wave named Robert, called the birthday. It may crash back into the ocean sooner than the wave named Robert. It lives a whole different life than the wave next to it. But it is still ocean at the end of the day. And its existence as a separate wave is an illusion. Because at the end of the day, every single wave, regardless of who or what it thinks it is ocean. Period. Regardless of when it emerged out of the ocean to become an individual wave, and regardless of when it merges back in, it's still ocean. And in like manner, I want you to know, regardless of what you look like, whether you're vibrating low or whether you're vibrating high, you're still God. You see, people like to make a separation between the good and the bad, between life and death, yin and yang, sun and moon. light and darkness, light workers and dark workers, Christians and Muslims, witches and warlocks. We're always making divisions. And all those are just waves. I want you to know every single division that you can come up with is simply a fucking illusion. Waves on the ocean of infinity. At the end of the day, regardless of whatever you think you are, you're still God. You're still ocean. You're part and parcel with the energy that creates. And even deeper than the energy, the Godhead that creates. Do you understand? Because out of the Godhead comes energy. We say oftentimes that God is energy, but it actually goes deeper than that. Energy is the first expression of God, the first emanation, they call it, of God. And so sometimes it's easier to say that because it's easier for people to grasp energy than it is non-existence, non-being, the no thing. Now, let me grab another picture for you guys. We're going to keep this thing rolling, because we're going somewhere with this. This information is very important for you to get correct in your mind, because knowledge is power. And so what is the incorrect knowledge? If knowledge is power, what is incorrect knowledge? Yeah, exactly. Practice don't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. If you practice something incorrectly for a very long time, then it will be perfectly incorrect. So anyway, all right. Y'all see this picture that I have placed before you? It is a picture of an ocean in Mexico. But do you see that river there? You see that river? And you see that person in that river? What's strange about this photo? Can somebody tell me? There's a person sitting in a river. What's strange about that person sitting in that river? Do you notice anything? Huh? You notice anything? I'll give you a couple of seconds. I'll tell you. The person sitting in the river is wearing diving gear. You see those little bubbles going up from that person's head? I want you to understand that this person is sitting in a river that happens to be inside of an ocean. Now, Crystal, why are you telling us this? Why are you telling us this, Crystal? What is the significance of there being a river inside of an ocean? And I want you to ask yourself, I want you to really ask yourself this question. How is it possible for a river that is made of water to exist inside of an ocean that is made of water? How can the two exist in the same place and the same time? Wouldn't the ocean overtake the river and the river just simply merge into the ocean? How? Oh, how can a river have an existence separate from the ocean while in the ocean and they're both made of water? And I will tell you how. But I want you to understand that what I am showing you here is that you are a river living inside of an ocean, though you know it not. You are a God living inside of a God, though you know it not. You are a cell living inside of a cell, though you know it not. You are a world living inside of a world, though you know it not. The only difference between you and the world that you live in, the only difference between you as a God and the God that you live, move, and have your being is your density, your composition, your frequency, and your vibration. That's right. You see, the river there is a little more salty. Are you salty today? Who's salty in here today? Huh? Are you salty? Are you the salt of the earth? You see, because salt is beautiful. Salt preserves. Salt is an antiseptic. Kills the bacteria. Do you preserve? Do you kill the bacteria on planet Earth? Are you salty today? I know they use salty as a bad connotation to it. But I'm not talking about how they use salty. I'm asking you, are you salty? You see, this river here is a little more salty than the world that is around it. Nay, can I even say that greater is the salt in the river than the salt that's in the ocean? You are a river living inside of an ocean. You are an ego that lives inside of a super ego. You are a soul that lives inside of the super soul, the over soul. Do you understand? And the only thing that separates you from your God, you from the universe, you from the all Brahman, is your frequency and vibration. Now, you've heard of people having a mystical experience wherein everything in their life pales in comparison to that experience. You've heard me talk about that, called the atonement or the at-one-ment, wherein the river melts into the ocean, where the river realizes that it is made from the same exact substance of a different frequency that the ocean in which it lives, move, and have its being. It feels its oneness with the ocean. It no longer perceives itself as just the river. It perceives itself as part and parcel with the entire ocean. This is the mystic experience. And I want you to understand what occurs. Now, you see, the more salty you are, the heavier you are. And it allows you to have an existence separate from God. Grasp. But if and when you want to merge back with the oversoul, all you have to do is change your frequency, change your vibration, and you do that by changing your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions, as well as your actions, which is a byproduct of changing your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. You see, where the mind goes, the man follows. Yeah. Fundi Fi says it moves effortlessly, one within the other. Exactly, Fundi. And that's the idea. It's not to fight the ocean in which you live in, but to become one with it. Move with it like a dance. You can begin to extract things that you need for the upkeep of the river from the surrounding ocean. But you got to understand that you are part and parcel with that ocean. That allows you to tap into that. You see? Period. Now, let me move on to another picture. Now, here we go. Now, this picture I've placed before you is what they have called the evil eye. But I want y'all to understand, when we're talking about good and evil, that I don't eat from that tree. I eat from the tree of life and death. You see, some things may be good, but they produce death in your life. You see, being kind is a good thing, right? But if you be kind to a fucking energy vampire, it's going to produce death and corrosion in your life. So that which is good has become death unto you. So I don't eat from that tree. I eat from the tree of life and death. I'm worried about, is it going to give me life? If it gives me life, that's what I'm doing. Sorry about that, you guys. So anyway, I want you to look at this hand. And I want you to see the very same concept that I am showing you. This is why this hand has been used. And you notice there's an eyeball right there in the middle, huh? I want you to know that that is like mysticism, and all the other fingers are like the religions. That eyeball there can also be likened to the ocean, and the fingers like waves emerging from that ocean. That eyeball there can be likened to God, and all the fingers being like different manifestations that you may see. Yeah. And so, though you may think you are separate from God, if you just pan your vision down, pan it back, or dig just a little bit deeper, you will realize that we are all intrinsically connected. Now, if you look all the way to the right of this screen, a piece. Y'all still there? Let's see. That's right, Melanated High Priestess. Melanated High Priestess says, also it can be seen as different paths. That is used in my martial art, Fundi Fee says. Celeste Dorsey says, wow, true facts spoken. Energy vampires. Mystery says, I have a shirt with that symbol. Very good. Okay, yeah, and so if you look at this piece of jewelry that was created on the right of the screen, you will see that at the end of each finger, they've also attached an eye. And so I showed you this picture in order to show you that it is not secret knowledge. He who seeks will find. It is right in front of our face. It is literally everywhere. And so you see they've attached an eye to each one of the fingers to symbolize that the fingers have an ego of itself, an I. You see me, myself, and I. The fingers, each one has a separate ego, separate from the hand itself, in which it is rooted and grounded. And so you two have an ego that is separate from God. You see, God can do things in God's ego, in God's persona, in God's being that you cannot. In the same way that you are able to do things that the cells within your body cannot. Do you understand? And so though the cell is part of your body, the cell is not you. And though you are part and parcel with God and the universe, God, the oversoul, Mother Nature, all of these entities have separate existences that is bigger than yours, that is different from yours. Michelle Jackson in the house. Tiffany Chase, the Philly Bruja, is in the house. Yes. But by knowing who you are, you see essentially what happens when you find out that there is an eye at the center of a hand, of the hand, or the cosmos, that connects you to the cosmos, and you realize that you and your Father are one. You can tap into the power of the Father. Now I want to play a little clip for you guys from Alan Watts. If y'all haven't listened to any of Alan Watts' works, I love listening to Alan Watts. L-A-N space W-A-T-T-S. Phenomenal work. Let me go ahead and jump right into it.
I knew a woman who got an accident in an elevator. She hadn't taken any drugs. But in this accident, she was pinned with her leg caught in the mechanism, and she was there for half an hour before anybody could get to her rescue. She was having agonies. But she knew that she simply had to wait. There was
Hold on, you guys. Let me restart that.
I knew a woman who got in an accident in an elevator. She hadn't taken any drugs. But in this accident, she was pinned with her leg caught in the mechanism, and she was there for half an hour before anybody could get to her rescue. She was having agonies. But she knew that she simply had to wait. There was nothing to do about it, so she completely accepted her situation. And she said that in that time she realized, to put it in her own words, there is not a single grain of dust in this whole universe that is out of place. In other words, that peculiar, painful, unwanted situation was somehow made acceptable and all right, because it fitted in to a harmonious arrangement which involved everything that was happening, that had happened, or that ever would happen. And whether you approve of this kind of experience or not, whether you think it's rational or not, it keeps happening spontaneously, through discipline, or as a consequence of chemical agencies to thousands of people. And it is, of course, one of the generating forces in the things we call the great religions of the world. Obviously, Jesus Christ had an experience of this kind, which brought him to the feeling that he, as a living organism, was an expression of what he called, in the language available to him, God the Father. I and the Father are one. He who has seen me has seen the Father. That was an absolutely unacceptable pronouncement to his contemporaries, and so he got crucified. We are, I hope, a more tolerant age, and we are, I think, really in need of experiencing the relationship of the individual to the physical world in a way that is more positive, more constructive, more friendly, more close than that which expresses itself in a hostile technology bent on the domination and the conquest of nature, considered as something alien to the human spirit, mechanical, thoughtless and stupid, that surrounds us as the mere featureless energy behind the galaxies. If indeed it were possible for many of us to have a sensation of not just merely belonging in this world, but being it, if we could feel that our separate individuality is a coming and going expression of what it is that is happening through all the cycles of time and generations of cosmoses, we'd be able to cool it a bit and not be so frantic in our pursuit of survival. It might be a very good thing. And that's simply giving an explanation of why I personally have been interested in exploring the psychology and the conditions of this kind of experience for so many years and years and years.
All right. I love Alan Watts, you guys. If y'all ever get some spare time and you want to delve more into the mystic perspective, again, as I said, which is not a religion, it's not a dogma, it's not even a doctrine. It is the foundation of all religions. And once you really dig into it, you will see its tenets literally all over, everywhere. It is the fundamentals on which everything is built. Peace, love, and blessings, Chantal. Eli says, love that guy. Yes, I love it. You're not that late, fame used, V. Deandra, peace, peace. Okay, let's continue on, you guys. See what else we can pull out here. Okay, another thing. Let me grab this picture for you. And I'll show you this. Okay. Here we go. Now, we all seem to think that things are separate. But I want us to really understand that we only perceive objects as separate in our mind because they vibrate at different frequencies. But if you ask yourself, what is a tree? When you really think about it, you would say that the tree is separate from the ground. However, you cannot separate the tree from the ground. The ground is just as much tree as the tree is tree. If you take the tree away from the ground, the tree is no longer a tree. You understand? Even when you look at the sun, you would say the sun is separate from a tree, correct? But if you take the sun away from a tree, again, the tree is no longer a tree. So I want you to understand that we are hermetically sealed. We are irrevocably tied together. We are all codependent upon each other for existence and subsistence. You understand? Separation is truly an illusion. Can you tell me where I stop and where you began? You would automatically think that where my skin is where I stop, and where your skin is where you began. But if you even just think about us conversing right now, you listening to my voice, my words have now become thoughts vibrating down the corridors of your mind. So are we so separate after all? And then you could go even further and ask yourself, where did my thoughts originate from? They came to me, but where did they come from? And so wherever my thoughts come from and have reverberated and become part and parcel with my being, is also one with me. Oneness is not something that is to be believed. It is something that is to be realized. Now, let me show y'all this picture here that I'm sure all of you guys have seen before at some time or another. But I'm going to show it to you anyway. Okay, this picture here. You see that picture? It's basically describing a lot of stuff, but more particularly, it's basically describing, you can look at that white light that's entering that prism there as God, or spirit rather. The prism can be likened to one's mind, and the rainbow that spews out the other end is manifestation. But I want you to understand that the prism itself is God. You see, God, the universe, the higher power, the higher self, upholds the world by its inherent power, in the same way that your mind upholds images, beings, and forms by its inherent power, not by a power outside of itself. It creates from itself, for itself, and to itself. In the same way that God creates everything from itself, for itself, to itself. And so in this picture you can see what has been coined in the Christian religion as the Trinity: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. You see the Father there to the far left, and then you see the Son, in whom the Father has descended in, and you see proceeding from the Son the Holy Spirit, of whom you and me and everyone else is part and parcel of. Now, See what else I got. Hold on. We not done yet. We is not done yet. I'll show y'all this one right quick, mainly because I just love this image, but also because it has significance as well, but really because I love it. So anyway, look at this picture that I have placed before you. Hold on, guys. Let me get it at the forefront. Bear with me. All right. This image that I have placed before you is an image of a flame. You can be likened to a flame, okay? But I want you to understand that the flame cannot exist without the wick, nor can it exist without the air that surrounds it. So though you think that the flame is separate in and of itself, it is not. It is very much the same as the atmosphere around it, as well as the wick that houses it. It like Master Fundi Fi said, they flow one into the other. It is very difficult to show where the flame starts and the wick stops. And in the same way, when you really think about it, it is very difficult to show where the human starts and the God stops. You understand? Do you grasp? That knowledge, that information, that awareness, that realization, that revelation, that apocalypse is very paramount if you plan on conducting any type of meaningful and effective rituals. If you plan on tapping into any effective and meaningful powers, energy streams. You grasp? Now, let's see what else I got for y'all. Matter of fact, let me just keep this picture on here. I want to play something else for you guys. It's not Alan Watts. It's a guy named Steve Peterson. Steve or Stephen Patterson. I'm going to see. Matter of fact, let me go look. Now, this guy, he's not a mystic. And that's pretty much the thing that I really like about what he's going to say. And it's going to be brief. But I want y'all to listen with your ears that hear. And I want you to really process the information, because what he's going to say is not from a mystic perspective. He's not a mystic, but he basically expresses the mystic idea in a rational way, in a way in which someone's mind who is more tend toward the rational aspect of seeing things can process. And you know, as I always say, tolerance is needful here. We all don't have to believe the same exact things. You know, for me, what I know is what I know. In my world, it's not considered belief. It's considered knowledge. But because you or anyone else may lack the same experience, the same revelations that I have received, for you, what I call knowing is looked at as believing for you. So grasp that, okay? Just because it is belief for you don't mean it's belief for somebody else. And in the same like manner, just because it is knowing for you don't mean it's knowing for somebody else. So let's all be mindful of that and try not to shove your belief system, even as true and correct as you may think it is, down someone else's throat. You understand? Now,
rationality and mysticism are often seen as opposites. Rationalists
all right, you guys,
use logic and reason to make sense of the world, while mystics claim to transcend reason by directly experiencing, they say, the oneness of the universe. Then when you ask them to defend their position, mystics will often claim that language is just too limited and cannot convey the deep truths that they understand. Rationalists like myself are often left scratching our heads, unsatisfied and unpersuaded. But I'd like to make a case for mysticism, not because I believe it's true, but because I think a persuasive and logical argument can be made. In the West, we're generally only presented with a Californized version of mysticism that's espoused by surfer dudes everywhere, like, whoa, all is one, man, isn't that deep? But in reality, these ideas are well developed in Eastern philosophy and are extremely subtle and reasonable. Though I don't believe they're accurate, every critical thinker must grapple with them. And are extremely subtle and reasonable. Though I don't believe they're accurate, every critical thinker must grapple with them. By mysticism, I mean the proposition that when you break down reality to its most fundamental essence, all is one. And because of this conclusion, there is indeed a way to transcend reason without breaking any logical rules or discarding our own sensibility. And we certainly don't need to appeal to quantum physics is magical woo-woo nonsense. The argument is about boundaries, and it's a natural extension of the argument I made earlier against the existence of objects. It just takes it one step further. I won't rehash the entire argument, but in a nutshell, what we call objects are fundamentally just concepts. Without a mind, they wouldn't exist. The object's constituent parts would exist, they're atoms and particles, but not as a unified and independent thing. The boundary between floor and chair is something that's entirely linguistic and artificial. The act of naming this versus that is a function of the mind. It's useful, but it creates an illusion of living in a world of objects, when in reality we live in a world of concepts. The mystic simply applies this idea consistently. They say that all divisions between things have the same quality. They are artificial projections of the mind. They're merely names. So, where is the boundary between myself and other things? Between subject and object, between the perceiver and the perceived? The mystic profoundly claims there is none. If no meaningful boundaries exist, then my being cannot have boundaries either. Whatever exists is everything, which is the only thing that is. Our conception of the human mind is only that, a conception. It's a word. It's nothing fundamental. Without our naming it, it wouldn't be. Now, if what I've said is true so far, then it also justifies the mystic's critique of language and reason. Think about words. What do? They distinguish and reference this from that. They help us navigate the world. But they also make claims about what is. If we want to reference what ultimately exists, what words could we even use? Literally, none. If you're linguistically referencing something, anything at all, then you're dividing up the world. And if nature isn't meaningfully divided, then it's futile to use language to try to talk about what actually exists. You can only concretely point out, in fact, what isn't. What is the ultimate nature of reality? Well, it's not this or that, if you can talk about it. It's not your mind or the physical world. It's not anything at all. Now, not because this is for magical or cryptic reasons, but because it logically cannot ever be referenced. This way of thinking also indicts human reason, or at least it seriously deflates its ability. Rationality is an attempt to make sense of the world using our minds, but from the mystic's point of view, rationality misleads us. It deals with a bunch of words, sentence after sentence, of such and such is this and that. When really, regardless of how you jumble the words together, you'll never learn anything about what really is. The tool of language itself is flawed to the mystic. It's like trying to drive from Nevada to Kentucky in a canoe. You're just using the wrong equipment. So if language doesn't get us closer to ultimate reality, or if it actively distracts us from it, is there any way to know the truth? Yes, according to the mystic, silence. When the mind becomes quiet and stops naming things, you can experience boundarylessness. The oneness that is everything. That's the real you. And realize this isn't you separate from not you. It's only you. Now, perhaps to the surprise of Westerners, this is where meditation comes from. It's not for health benefits. The goal of meditation is to quiet the mind's word games and just be, ultimately resulting in a dissolution of your own ego or sense of self as separate from the rest of the universe. They claim that when you just are, you experience what is, namely, everything. Now, I have never experienced this state of mind, but many people have. It can be achieved through advanced practice of meditation, or more popularly in the West, through psychedelic drug use. The majority of mystics that I've spoken with have arrived at their belief through a drug-induced psychedelic experience, but this does not discredit their ideas. After all, probably more than 1 billion people on Earth believe that all is one, and that this self is ultimately illusory. This isn't some crank philosophy conjured up by a bunch of hippies. Now, further in favor of mysticism, consider the implications if all is not one. Not just in terms of objects, but in terms of the self. Assume that the self has meaningful boundaries, an existence that is independent of our conception of it. What does that mean? It implies, necessarily, I think, that the self is non-physical. If it were physical, it would play by the same rules as other objects, i.e., it wouldn't actually be an independent thing. So, if all is not one, we're left with a non-physical being that is separate from the physical particles which make up human bodies. Now, essentially, that's pretty much a definition of a soul, or perhaps a ghost. Now, I do think a strong case can be made for the existence of souls, but the implications are equally enormous. So I see a clear dichotomy. Either all is one and the self is illusory, or all is not one and we live in a world of souls. Not exactly an easy decision either way. Now, to be honest, most people that I've met who espouse mysticism like this don't actually have a clear understanding of their own beliefs, and they portray them terribly. But when you dive into the real philosophy underpinning their ideas, the rabbit hole goes very deep. Suddenly, the stereotypical old wise man speaking in paradoxes doesn't seem so crazy. He's trying to convey an idea, which language literally cannot convey. Of course he's going to sound a bit silly. Plus, consider the following question. Why do so many people believe that their selves have boundaries in the first place? Why do people think that we aren't ultimately all the same thing? It's entirely because of our experience. We seem to walk around and experience things from a boundaried point of view, so we conclude we must have boundaries. But what if our experiences were different? If we walked around feeling like, in fact, we were the entire universe? Well, then mysticism would seem like the most reasonable conclusion. And countless mystics throughout history have claimed exactly that. They claim they have experienced the world this way. And usually their claims are met with derision. They say things like, I am God, or you are in me and I am in you. And most people immediately assume that they're insane, at least in our culture. But I think this is a grave philosophic error. The mystics' conclusions might be wrong, but the underlying ideas should be treated with the utmost seriousness. If you like the sound of these ideas, if they resonate with you, then make sure to subscribe. And if you want...
All right, that's it for Mr. Stephen Peterson, something. He said his name, just rewind, and if you want to dig more into his stuff. But I don't think he has very many videos on mysticism. I think he just touched on it. He's more of a rational mind kind of person. But like I said at the beginning, that's why I initially brought that little audio clip to you guys, is because he is treating the subject from a rational perspective. So mysticism makes perfect sense even from a rational perspective. The thing is we don't generally get at it is because we lack the ability to be still. It's as if everything within our environment is tending us to do more, know more, learn more, move more, think more. No, I mean, it just goes on. But the idea is to be still. Be still. And by be still, it means to just be. We're so constant. We're always becoming. We're trying to become this, become that. And no one, not no one, but, you know, it's over exaggeration, but very, very few people are content with just being. Simply just being. Now, I know that sounds very, very simple, but because it is not the way that we have been reared, because it is not the way that we have been programmed, it's essentially very hard. Excuse me, you guys. Let me cut this sound off of this text message here. It's essentially very hard. If you ever try to truly, truly be still, to truly still your mind, to truly empty your mind and still your heart and your emotions and your thoughts and every part of your being, you will realize just how hard it is. But it can be done. We can all start by just being. Stop trying to become and just feel and process what is. Now, we may not be able to do this during our everyday life, but start out with just 5 minutes a day. Take 5 minutes a day, get in a comfortable position, lay there, sit there, whatever posture you're in, and just be. Just focus on feeling your heartbeat, hearing your breath, controlling your breath. You understand? And just feeling the life pulsating through you and around you. Then once you've gotten that down where it seems fairly easy, move it up to 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes until it becomes a present reality in your every waking moment of your life. And you will see once you have done that, that you can indeed live an enchanted life. You see, you're the Disney princess that they've been talking about. See, you're Sleeping Beauty, you're Snow White. Do you understand what I am telling you? That's you. And you can live the enchanted life. Not in the hereafter, but in the here and now. Now, this picture that I have placed before you, I hope that you have had a lot of time to look at it and process it. Because as I said, you see, you don't understand that most of us, there are exceptions to the rules, but most of the beings on this plane are cosmic babies. That's right, cosmic babies. And see, you receive information to you, and you translate that information and create a world for yourself. You know how we did in one of those audios, we listened to the audio clip where they said Yanny. Well, some people heard Yanny and some people heard Laurel. Do you remember that? And the reason was because we are all receiving information through the golden thread. And we are translating that information into a world contingent upon our own internal makeup, the structure of our mind. And so what you perceive to be a computer ain't really a computer. What you perceive to be a chair isn't really a chair. You are a cell within the body of the cosmic man, whom the Kabbalists have called Adam Kadmon. Correct. I know it feels so solid. That wall in front of you feels so solid, doesn't it? Yes, it does. But it is not. If it was that solid, then how does radio waves get through it? How does microwaves get through it? Sound waves even get through it. You ever heard about that scripture in the Bible that talks about Jesus when they was in the upper room after he had been crucified and he had rose again, but he had met them in the upper room. And it says he went through the wall. Remember that? Went through the wall, right? Sound like a bunch of bullshit, don't it? But you got to understand, you see, the UV rays, the microwaves, the radio waves, gamma rays, all of them kind of waves can go through the wall because they are of a different frequency, a very fine and subtle frequency. And you too can become of a fine and subtle frequency. You see, all of these stories are telling you about it. What, you ever heard of the Fantastic Four? They went up into space and they got hit with gamma rays. They had special powers after that. Wasn't it gamma rays? The Fantastic Four and Hulk and all of them? Yeah, and so, and in like manner, you can change your vibration. You can change your frequency. You can evolve or unfold yourself like the lotus flower. And you too can walk through walls like Jesus is been attributed to have done. I know y'all think it's not real, but if you don't, you got to really do some research, my babies. You understand? And I'm gonna tell you why. Because they have this technology. They do remote viewing on your ass all the time. That's right. Be right next to you and you don't even realize it. That's right. You ever feel like somebody's watching you? Yes, this shit is possible. See, they are the haves and you are the have-nots. That's what it's been in time past anyway, but that time has come and it is slowly creeping away. See, you moving into the have sector of life, the have sector of the universe. But it is possible. You have to believe it first before you can ever achieve it. Now, let me get you another picture here. You know I love my images. An image is worth 1,000 words. Now I know that I've showed this image that I'm pulling up right now. I know that I have showed it before in a Gaudio before. But because I find this image to be of grave importance and to express a truth so important, I'm going to show it again. And I want you to really, really grasp. You see, God, the universe, the higher self, the oversoul, does not dwell in temples made with hands. A lot of people believe that running inside the church doors every time that they fly open is going to get them a one-way ticket to heaven. And that's not true. Even the scriptures tell you that. It's not true. Nope. Because a lot of them anyway, not all of them, there's exception to the rule. A lot of people who attend churches and mosques and temples and things like that are still in the outer court of spirituality, in the outer court of knowing themselves. They have yet to enter into the holy place, much less the holy of holies. Do you understand? There are exceptions to the rule. But I want you to truly, truly understand that God dwells in you as you. I'm going to say that again. God dwells in you as you, in as much as the ocean dwells in the wave as the wave. Grasp what I'm saying. Chantel said you can walk on water if it's frozen. True that. So true. Modern technology. Anyway, yes, so let me give me another picture here. I just wanted to bring that back up just to kind of, repetition. It's what cult leaders use. We've seen this used before, haven't we? The art of repetition in order to program one's mind. You see, people like to throw away belief. They really, really do. It's the craziest shit to me. But when you really think about it, all you have is it is belief. Your whole entire world is constructed of only belief. Literally. The past is dynamic. You can change the past by changing the present, which also subsequently changes the future. None of this shit is solid like you think it is, including the past. If you don't believe me, go watch the Gaudio I did on the Mandela effect. None of this shit is really solid. Grasp. All you have is belief. So guard your heart where your beliefs dwell. Your beliefs are based off your experience and what you call truth. You understand? Belief comes from your thoughts of truth, your experience, your revelations, your garnishing of wisdom. So guard your heart with all diligence, because out of it flows the issues of your life. It doesn't matter if you're really sick or not. If you believe you're sick, you're fucking sick. Do you understand? It doesn't matter whether you are damned or not. If you believed you're damned, you're damned. Do you grasp what I'm saying? So don't let these fools out here make you think that belief has no standing here. Belief has a lot of standing. Now, omnism. Omnism is the belief that no religion is truth, but that truth is found in them all. In the same way that we should not be believing that one man is God, but that God is found in them all. So we reject that. We reject the testimony of fools like or some well-meaning people who have not processed the information in a healthy way, such as most of us all know our unfavored neighborhood occultist and cult leader, Nature Boy. We reject the belief that you alone are God, because we understand that God is found in all men, not only in all men, but in all things, in all places. What the scriptures say, if I go down to hell, Lord, you're there. If I go into the highest mountain, you're there. If I cut a tree open, you're there. God is everywhere. So I am an omnist. I believe that no one religion is truth. Not all of Christianity is truth. Not all of Islam doctrine is truth. Not all of Buddhist doctrine is truth. You understand? But truth is the foundation and can be found in each and every one of them. In the same way that one finger cannot proclaim itself to be the hand, but the hand is indeed all of the fingers. So you can look at the fingers as different religions. They all stem from the mystic perspective. Now, if you don't know what the mystic perspective is, and you don't believe that all of these religions come from one foundation, I'll show you this. You see, and I've also heard stupid shit like, if you believe in the Bible, then you a pedophile, or if you support pedophilia, or you support abuse, you support murder, you support all this shit. Look here now. That's like saying if you motherfucking read the like Nature Boy always say, the story of the three little pigs. That's always his example. If you read the story of the three little pigs, then you support knocking down somebody's house or some shit. What kind of fuck shit is that? Truth is found everywhere to he who has eyes to see and ears to hear. We can get honey out of the rock, my baby. Yeah, it may be a rock to bust you upside your head, but for me, it's honey, okay? Because I'm an alchemist. So only speak for yourself, boo-boo. Because you're unable to process the information without getting lost in the motherfucking sauce don't mean I'm finna throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like people tell you that God don't exist or Jesus don't exist. Okay, maybe not in the way you think of Jesus, but because your concept of Jesus doesn't mean that's my concept of Jesus. Do you understand? This is how words get tricky and shit. I say Jesus, you think I'm talking about the Jesus you learned about in church. Well, I tell everybody, look, study to show yourself approved. Listening to other people's thoughts and other people's perspective can help open up doors for you, can help explain some shit, can help you unlock things within you. But at the end of the day, you have to pit all of that shit up against the God that resides within you. Because you will love the Lord thy God, not my God, but thy God, above anybody else's, above mine, above hers, above his, above Jesus's, above everybody's. Do you understand what I am telling you? You see, religion is having somebody else's experience and trying to produce that same experience off of their experience. Spirituality is having your own experience. Most people who've had any type of experience of at-one-ment or the melting of the ego have went on to tell people their experience, and people have taken what they told them and turned it into a formulae in order to attempt to recreate the experience. That's what religion is. But spirituality is not religion. Two totally different things. Religion is sets of rules and regulations in an attempt to get you to the experience of mysticism, of spirituality. Grasp. Now, as you see replaced before you, I have put a chart up about the primary teachings of every major religion. And as you read through the chart, you will quickly come to the conception that they all stem from the same root. Just like we seen that hand with the 5 fingers, all of them religions stem from the palm. Do you understand? All of the waves originate from the same ocean. And if you read it correctly, it's simply this. The golden rule. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto yourself. Because there is only one here. Whatever you do unto others, though you may not realize it as you reside in your ego, one day, one day, you're going to have to sit in that other ego. I always say it's like musical egos, huh? Like magical chairs, musical chairs. When the music stops, you got to inhabit an ego. So be careful how you treat your neighbor. Be careful how you treat your mother. Be careful even how you treat your enemy. Because you might have to sit in that chair when the music stops. Or rather, when the music starts again. Grasp what I'm saying. It's a deep thing. Moving on. Let me pitch up another picture for you guys. Okay. I want y'all to understand the concept. Oh, wait. Let me fix that. Pull that up to the forefront, you guys. I want y'all to understand the concept of heaven and hell as well. And I'm just going to touch on it briefly. I want you to realize that you are living in an electric universe, which consists of electricity and magnetism working together, often called yin and yang. You understand? In the Taoist tradition, called positive and negative within science. You understand? Called male and female within the gender game. You grasp what I'm saying? But this is an electric and magnetic universe, electromagnetism, and you are literally encased in it. You're swimming in it. You have been wrapped up and hidden in Christ, though you know it not. Now, again, I'm going to say this for those who are not used to me. When I say Jesus, when I say Christ, when I say some of all of the regular shit you used to hearing in church, don't mean I'm talking about it in the way that you heard in church. You got to dig a little bit deeper, baby. I'm talking about the deeper truths, okay? There are more than one levels of interpretation. I'm not talking about the surface level of interpretation. We diving deep tonight, okay? You are encased in electric and magnetism. Okay? This is the stuff this is the information. All that shit is just information. What is a song coming out of your radio but information that had to first go in the form of waves? In the same way, what is your world but waves processed and solidified? You see, your world is what they call hell, a lake of burning fire called electricity. See, you're swimming in a lake of burning fire called electricity. But because of your mind, which is in the likeness of God, in that it upholds images and forms by its own inherent power, creates heaven for you. Yes, it does. It takes that hell, it takes that electrical information, and it turns it it freezes it over into what you call heaven. Physical manifestation, objects, persons, places, and things. That's right. Grasp what I'm saying. But you can translate the persons, places, and things differently depending on your own internal makeup. You raise your vibration, and a lot of that fuck shit won't even penetrate into your world. You ever wonder how these people who appear to be rich and well off, how they don't even perceive the plight of the poor? How they don't even perceive the comings and goings in the ghettos and the hoods and the low and the despised places of this world? You want to know why? They don't even translate that shit. That shit don't even come across their desk. They're not on that frequency. You understand that they're not translating that shit. In the same way, when you turn your radio station to 107.5, it doesn't translate 104.9. It's not worried about, it don't know shit about what's going on 104.9 or on 88.7. It only knows about what's going on 107.5. And I said all that to say this. Whenever you raise your frequency and you raise your vibration by thinking on good things, your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions determine your vibration, your frequency. You won't even translate some of that shit that's plaguing you right now into your world, period. You see, if you're living in poverty, it's because you're poor. You're spiritually poor. That means your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotion are on a lower vibration. You got to elevate yourself, baby. Upgrade you. It's time for an upgrade. Not a downgrade, but an upgrade. Do you understand? Scripture says your poverty is a direct result of your spiritual poverty. Why? Because it is done on earth as it is in heaven. Grasp. Grasp now. Yeah, now, let me get y'all another picture here. Okay. As I said earlier, as all of the religions of the world have attempted to teach us, even though we as a whole generally want to focus on the fleshly portions of the religion, all that extra shit, the rites and the rituals. At the end of the day, the bones of every religion is love your neighbor as yourself. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. To be tolerant. See, you don't have to agree with somebody's lifestyle, but if they're not imposing upon somebody else's will, let people live their life. Try to live more in your eternal self and see this lifetime as one day. And everything wouldn't seem so urgent to you. You wouldn't be so quick to pull them out of the fires that they are in, because you know that we as souls learn obedience by the things that we suffer. You see, your mama might have told you, your daddy might have told you, your best friend might have told you, but you couldn't hear until your ass was in that fire. Now you know what the flames smell like. You know how to get your ass out of the flames before the flames even get on you. Don't you? Yes, you do. It's better if we are more tolerant of each other. Because at the end of the day, when you look past the flesh, all of us share the same spirit. The same spirit that penetrates and animates me. This ego that I perceive as me is the very same spirit that penetrates and animates you. See, we and our Father, you see, that's the penetrating and animating aspect of God. The penetrating and life-ejecting, life-giving aspect of God. The same one that penetrates me is the very same one that penetrates and animates you. Whether you perceive it as a negative manifestation or a positive one, a good one or a bad one, a black one or a white one. Regardless. Tolerance. Like Aretha Franklin say, respect. You ain't got to shove your belief down nobody's throat. If it is your belief, then live by your light and they will see it. But whatever their belief system is, if it's working for them, let it work for them. Do you understand? As I've always said, religion is not a bad thing. It only becomes a bad thing when you get trapped in it like a coffin. It's a shell. It's designed to protect you. Yes, it is designed to bind back. Yes, it is a form of darkness. But do you not grow in your mother's womb in darkness? Is not the womb itself something to bind back? Is not an eggshell that the little chicklet grows in? Is it not dark and used to bind back? But see, something happens when the chick get full grown and it gets its strength. It can bust through that shell when it no longer needs it. Something happened when the baby reaches a certain evolution. It comes out of that darkness, the triple darkness, like they say. It comes from out of that womb that is constantly contracting down on it. And in like manner, leave people in their religion. Stop that. Stop it. Leave them in their religion, because what you're going to have when you try to pull them out ahead of time, before it's time, out of season, is a stillborn. That's what you're going to get, is a miscarriage. Leave people in their religion. Everything has its perfect place and its perfect time. Unless you see that they have already poked their head out of the shell and they just need a little pick-me-up to finish busting the rest of the shell off. That's all right. But don't you reach your hands down in a closed shell and try to pull a baby chick out of that. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you attempt to open a flower that hadn't already opened itself up. Do you understand? You ever tried to open a flower? Help a flower open up? Yeah, you rip off all the petals, don't you? Let's keep that shit in mind. Let's keep that in mind. People have all eternity, y'all. Nobody's going nowhere. Not really. Sometimes you go up Jacob's ladder and sometimes you go down. Depending. Now let me show y'all this one here. I'm going to show you some examples of this as seen within the scripture. Here we go. John 10:30 says, I and my Father are one. We've talked about that one already. That one's pretty self-explanatory. Colossians 3:10-11 says, and have put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge in the image of its creator. Now I want you to know the ocean as a separate being, as an existence, is an image of the creator. And you as a wave was created inside, literally inside the image of God. Literally, inside you live, move, and have your being. Is not Jesus supposed to be the physical representation of an invisible God? The visible manifestation of an invisible God? Is Jesus not the perfect representation and image of God? And I want you to know that this supposed Jesus is the being in whom you live, move, and have your being, is the being in whose body you are a member of. You see, some people think of Jesus different than I do. I see Jesus as Mother Nature. Now, I know a lot of y'all think, wait, hold up now. Wasn't Jesus a man? Well, if you think about it, Jesus is the wisdom of God, right? This is what scripture says. But Proverbs says that wisdom has builded her house. She has cried aloud from the rooftops. Yeah, that's right. Grasp that shit for a little while. I want you to let that soak in. Yeah. Oh, you've met Jesus, Chantel. My Jesus, anyway. Matter of fact, you've more than met Jesus. You live and move in Jesus right now. We call Jesus, the layman's term for Jesus is Mother Nature. That's right. But Mother Nature actually has a actual ego, an actual persona separate from yours. If you even just looking at the earth from a time-lapse video, you will see that she breathes in and out, in and out. But you see the concept of Jesus goes even beyond the earth. Jesus is literally every single thing, every single manifested thing. You see, we are all members of the body of Adam Kadmon, okay? The Kabbalists call it Adam Kadmon, which is the cosmic man, in whose body earth is in, the sun is in, the moon is in, as cells. You understand? And we are like atoms that make up that cell. I know that's hard for people to grasp, but for those who can receive it, receive it. Those who cannot, just keep it moving. Okay. It says that here there is no Gentile or Jew, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian, slave, or something else. I can't see that because these words are over it. But anyway, you get the point. At the end of the day, at the base of it all, it's all ocean. So it doesn't really matter whether they're male or female, black or white, Jew, Christian, Muslim, whatever, the vegan, meat eater. It really doesn't fucking matter at the end of the day. No matter whatever the wave may think it is, or whatever particular quarks each separate wave has, it's still ocean at the end of the day. Period. For as the body is one and hath many members, now listen with your ears that hear now. For as the body is one and hath many members, and all... Wait. My comments are in the way. And all the members of that one body being many, or one body, so also is Christ. Grasp now. For by one Spirit, now when he says spirit, think ocean. For by one ocean, we all have been baptized into one body, whether we be Jews or Gentiles, whether we be bond or free, and have been all made to drink into one spirit. I want you to notice how anytime it's talking about the spirit, they're using references to water. All throughout scripture and even within Christian theology, spirit corresponds to water, washed in the water of the word. You hear things like that. And this is why. Okay, because indeed, as the picture like I showed at the very beginning of this audio, we have all been baptized. Remember that picture of the little baby with all the electricity going around it? We've all been baptized into the same spirit. That electricity surrounding it is spirit. We're all translating it differently, but we have all been baptized into the same exact spirit, which is God. Now, says, for in him we live, move, and have our being, as some of your own poets have said. We are his offspring. As the wave is an offspring of the ocean, we are an offspring of Christ. We are wrapped up and hidden in Christ as the baby was, with all of that electricity wrapped around it. Grasp. Now, see what else I got for you guys. Okay, I'll do that one right quick. Just a second, you guys. Work with me. Okay, another quick one. Y'all just read over that right quick, and that's very, very important. This is why it's very important for us to treat our body rights. I know y'all know as well, I'm very guilty of not treating my body as well as I should. But at the end of the day, it's not so much about desecrating some church on Fifth Avenue on the corner of 5th and 12th or some shit like that. It's more or less about desecrating your own body, because your body is the temple of the living God, not the dead God, but the God of the living energy, living force. Do you understand? So in order for the spirit to express itself through your body, it is best to keep your body as healthy as humanly possible. And of course, it takes discipline. It takes willpower. It takes all of those things. But Rome, like they say, was not built in one night. Start small. Instead of drinking all them carbonated drinks, try substituting one of them for a glass of water. Do you see what I'm saying? You may not be able to do a whole lot of exercise, but run in place for 5 minutes. Start with that. Just run in place. Do some jumping jacks. Every little bit counts, y'all. Every little bit. Now, the healthier you are in body and mind, the better you can actually express the living spirit that is within you. The living spirit, the Christ, as the scriptures say, which is your hope of glory. Okay, here's another quote, which I've already said earlier, but I decided to go ahead and put the image up as well because, like I say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Religion is a belief in someone else's experience. Spirituality is having your own experience. And I think we need to have our own experience by just being. Okay, a couple more, and then I'll have you guys. Y'all can call in if you have any questions, or you just have some comments or experiences that you may want to share with the God family on tonight. Almost done, you guys. Okay, here we go. There's a big difference between oneness and sameness. I want y'all to grasp this because this is another mystic thought that has been butchered. In the same way that the mystic thought of non-attachment, attachment is the root to all suffering. Attachment of illusions, really. Attachment in the sense of thinking that this wave, because it has dissipated into the ocean, that you have lost it. You have not. That kind of attachment. But of course, they have perverted it into meaning that your actual meaningful connections are attachments, right? They've also perverted the idea of oneness and sameness. They've said that oneness is sameness. They said because we are one, you have to have the same mind that I have. You have to eat the same food that I have. You have to read the same books or not read books because I don't. You understand? That sameness shit is just that. A bunch of bullshit. Okay? There's a big difference between oneness and sameness. You do not give up your individuality to the next man. Do not cast your crown before the next man. Sameness implies that we all have to do things and exactly think the same way as everybody else does, and that is a fallacy. I repeat, that is a fallacy. So if anybody tells you that you have to have the mind that they have, that you have to do what they tell you to do, unless you are underage and it is your parent, that is a predator. And they are trying to steal your soul. They want to use your life force and your energy for their will and their purpose, where you can't use it for your will and your purpose. Do you understand? Yeah, don't do that, baby. Watch out for them kind. Just like I said earlier, and those people who say that they're God and you're not, and you got to follow what they do. You know better than that, don't you? Yes, you do. Okay, you guys. I haven't really been checking my comments too much, you guys. So if you did comment anything and I seem to have not seen it, or it looks like I'm disregarding you, I promise you that I am not. It's just when I'm doing these audios, I see images in my head, and I talk from the images that are being displayed to me, that are flashing in front of my mind. You know, they're flowing through my mind like a river. And so it's hard for me to watch the screen as I pay attention to the images that are being displayed before me. And if y'all hear my little children in the background, I want y'all to excuse them as well, because I do have a couple of them in here with me. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm trying to get this picture on here, and it's taking forever. Okay, you guys, I have a conference call line, and I'm not going to spend too long on it, but I will have it to where if you want to call in and you have a question or a comment, you can feel free to do so. And let me go ahead and read these comments as well. Anyone who may have shown love or support to myself and or the channel, the platform, and I was unable to see that because of this particular format that I'm using, I want to say that excuse me, I will go back and watch the video and see who did, because I do like to do special meditations for everyone who comes and joins the God family and who also supports monetarily. Everyday Moment says, it says Christ is all and is in all. Correct, Everyday Moments. Christ can be likened to the ocean itself. Okay? And so we can tap into the power of the vast ocean while still remaining as a wave. Okay? So Christ is our hope of glory. Max Leola says, cooking and listening. Tanya Queen Airy says, words out of my mouth, everyday moments. Thank you, my beautiful melanated high priestess says, oh, that's to Malaya. I'm going to leave that between you guys. Peace, Deandra. Maslin Lucille, I'm just now getting here. I'm so sad I missed. It's okay. You can always do replay. You're welcome, Deandra. Ooh, Melanated High Priestess says matrix. Matrix is Latin for uterus or womb. Exactly. A place something is developed. Matrix also derived from matriarch. Correct. Which also comes from the word matter. Matra. There's the, oh Lord, my mind just went completely blank right there. Matter, and then there's, oh shit, forget it. It must have wasn't meant for me to say right now. Sapphire Music says, you're talking to me, sis. He says, taking away out. Sapphire says, I eat cake every fucking day. Feel like something be trying to make me eat. You might have a deficiency in something else, Sapphire. Possibly protein. Yes, Melanated High Priestess says, ocean is salt water, the soul. Very good. Yes, Melanated High Priestess, we are made of salt water, 80%. And y'all also, too, I want you to keep in mind that water is programmable. So speak life to yourself, okay? Stop speaking negative things, regardless of how true it may appear in this physical world. I want you to know that you're not a physical being having a spiritual experience. You're a spiritual being having a physical experience. You got to use your power. Your word is your power. A word is nothing but a vibration. A vibration shakes and moves shits here. Do you understand? So speak to your water. Speak to yourself, because you are 80% water, your body. Okay? Speak life. Call those things that be not as though they be, and watch them be. Watch they become in your life. I know this sounds churchy, like some churchy shit, but this is real shit. Like, for real, for real. It's not just some shit I'm saying. It's for real. Again, it's found in every religion. Now, let me go to my call-in number here and see if I can get to y'all. Now, I've never done this before. So, Y'all are going to have to bear with me if we have technical difficulties. Hopefully we will not. I'm going to go ahead and claim that we will not. Let me go ahead and call in. Bear with me. Okay, after y'all call, just enter the PIN. All right, you guys. The conference call for anyone who may want to call in. All right. You here? I said that, didn't I say that coming out? Which one is better, Rite or energy healing? Whew, you got me. I guess it's After Fahima. Peace, peace. Tanya says, Crystal, I would like to talk to you one day. Got somebody on the line, please? From Alabama? Hi, how are you? Well, start wherever you like, sweetie. We're in no hurry. Invisible school of the spirit. Um, if we live, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, you don't always get everything from one place. At least I didn't. I got things from so many different places, I can't even tell people where I got it from, you know? Next, caller, him. Thank you. Yeah, it's a takeover. Guys, God. So anyway, the rest of that other shit is just extra stuff. Again, like I said, it's rituals and rites and different things like that that people have experience of feeling your true essence, your ultimate reality. Like it's night, day, you're awake and then you sleep, you're awake and then you sleep. So too with religion and spirituality. You understand? You come out of religion as a baby comes out of the womb. You don't see it that way, but the womb is a grave. You go in the grave and you come out the other side of a womb. Over your eyes open, always open to its higher. Well, let me see who else that. My divinity is again. The way in which I came to this knowledge, overlining idea of what the overall structure is, I was very deeply entrenched in religion. However, I was never one of those hypocritical kind of religious. At the time, I didn't know anything. So all of this stuff that I'm relating to you now, like actually having a good idea of how it all works, I didn't have an internal revelation. Again, as the scripture says, it comes not with observation, and that in the very same way that I blinked my eyes, it was me that was making the sun rise. I felt like I was. That is probably the easiest way that I can say it. Um, of course, that saying it does come with its own difficulties, but again, for lack of a better way to as if my skin had stretched so far out to include the entire cosmos. So it's as if I felt as if I was walking inside of my own body to some degree, but it has dissipated quite a bit. And I did that. It's almost it reminds me of the movie Superman, where he was getting all these stimuli, hearing every people in the TV were talking to me. It's like the actual energetic beings in the TV, though they were created off of the image and the likeness of people in this physical reality. It was as if the people in the TV. I couldn't stop it. It was like, you ever been so sometimes the woman was crazy, like you can't think of anything else. And for a long time, voodoo, 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 you do, we do, every ism, every dogma and doctrine. It had me in science. See that as above, so below. That this is a kaleidoscope, and you have one image that's being displayed over in a different field. Spirit, says the Lord. So, in essence, everyone who's listening to the fact that you are magnetically drawn to this type of information, you have to be called. You are called from this, and you are slowly led down the path through different revelations. That's right, Deandra. Deandra said if you speak negative, speak positive. And wow, that's why I said play salt. Exactly. Yes, yes. Salt. Hey, put salt normal place, salt water. That's what you ever heard that? You know, been in the hospital and seen that big old 11 years old. On a sunny day, I was laying in my bed, dark, wrapped in wide awake, was sick. Spirit realm. I'm basically talking about those frequencies and vibrations that we generally cannot pick up with our five senses. And that's pretty much about. Yes, dude. How are you tonight? So what have you been experiencing, Yasmin? Like, when you say that you've been experiencing things, like give us spirit been as of late. Oh wow, wow, yeah, you been vibrating high. That's And you know, that's a good idea, Yasmin Bey. I've been thinking about that lately. As you said earlier, synchronicity. I think I will try to start holding meetings where we can all come together and hold an intention. You know, we need to start working with each other and working for each other, using our enhancement. Yeah, I'm very glad. Yes, and that's yes, yes. That's exactly. That is exactly how they trick us, Yasmin. They use our power of intention, and because we aren't consciously aware of it, we use it for what they want instead of what we truly, truly, truly desire. You know, and very good. Yeah, that is so true. Um, Everyone's having a problem hearing. You can call into the conference call and you can hear. You don't have to call, with in this world. You know, yeah, definitely. It indeed, like you said, you live an enchanted life. You think about somebody, the phone rings, boom, it's them. You know? Yes, yes, very, very much so. Yes, you know, I try to emphasize that so much. It's so important to find a, you know, like the scripture says, pursue peace, find peace and pursue it. You know, and even more than find. I know I always say find peace, but it's more or less about creating peace, creating happiness. You know, we so often try to find peace under every nook and corner when we have the power of creation, craft, create peace in our life. I mean, create the atmosphere. Mhm. Yes, and sadly that is true. You know, it's as if there's being a separation of frequency here. You know, in the same world, we're not all on the same frequency, and so there is a like the scripture says, the goats from the lambs, you know. Also, you guys, or a comment call, press the star on your keypad or of your phone, and it'll, and I'll be able to, create or a statement. Then just press the ask. Not me and Miss Yasmin will continue to converse. Hear you, Yasmin. You broke up, baby. Yeah, and that's the part, Yasmin. I know for me anyway, um, it's just the children. You know, I have 4 children, and it really scares me as to the type of world that I'm seeing. The selfishness, the amount of just complete and utter fucking chaos that's going on. It's so bad. I can't even let my kids go to public school. I mentally cannot make myself, like, I just can't. It's so hard. Like, wow. Yeah, accountability. Yeah, you pushed up on. Nah. You began to see from paranoia, just realizing that things like time travel, rituals, spells, curses, have formed paranoia. Yeah, yeah. Very good. I'm glad you mentioned that, Yasmin. For people, I don't know why, but I'm getting this feeling that somebody was fixing to delve into something that they had no business and no knowledge delving in. Forever, don't mess with it. Powerful things that if you don't, or someone in your family or innocent people, or just leave it alone. It's not a game. It's really, really not. Find you somebody that knows what they're doing, rituals and uh, contacting astral travel. Okay, because again, okay, and it's the same thing there. Not every spirit know what the hell they're doing before you start messing of whatsoever. Very good point, Jasmine. Sorry for going off on that tangent. I had a sense of speaking of, I it's never too late, sweetheart. It's like that water into wine. With life instead of. I agree. I agree very, very much, Jasmine. And look, anybody else, I'm going to say it again for anybody who just joined. If you're in the conference call and you want to say something, hit the asterisk or what they call the star on your phone, and it'll alert me so I can take you off of mute. I've muted everyone else's phone so it's not create interference. So anyway, yeah, they're still on there. They're still on there. But yeah, you're right, Yasmin. See, what Fundi was teaching people is to how to flow with life. Flow with life, or rather, let life flow through you. And instead of trying to use your rational, just going with that feeling, that bubbles up from deep. We've gotten away from that because we've been programmed through institutions have programmed us away from following deep down inside. But when we do, like Fundi has taught, and that's a good exercise now, and I'm going to implore everyone Fundi for teaching that. Everybody try it for one day. Follow your first mind, and then it happen in 2 days until you find it to be a very good idea. And anyway, okay. Anything to say, Miss Yasmin? If you have anything to say before I close out, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and end this little session. Is there something? Oh, and thank you, Miss Yasmin. Thank you for sharing your testimony. Unlock some keys for some people. You brought in the forefront that I didn't even know that I needed to place in. Having the courage to come on here and speak to us. Play a song, you guys. Let's see what I've got. Take that with you into your life. I love you guys. All y'all still hanging with me? Y'all remember who you are, not who you think you flow through you. Trust the Christ that dwells within you. Trust God, trust the Oversoul, trust the universe, trust Mother Nature. Whatever name you give it, trust it. And watch your life become effortlessly magic. Stop trying to become and just be. Be what you always were and always will be. The all, the everything and the no thing. The existent and the non-existent. And I appreciate y'all as well. Melanated High Priestess, I love you, sis. Fame Use V, I love you, sis. Max Leola, none but love. Chantal, none but love. Nala, Billy Franchette, Yasmin, Grandmaster Fee, Honey Bunny, French Wee Wee, Celeste Dorsey, Deandra, Navi Poet, D.D. Lightful, J. Jones, 888. I love y'all. And as I said, always, always remember who you truly are. Don't fight for victory. See, that's what humans do. You're not no human, baby. That's what humans do. Step in your godhood. Don't fight for victory. Fight from victory. Big difference. They don't have to know who you are, as long as you know who you are. Huh? They don't have to see the calling on your life, as long as you see it. They can't see your vision. That's yours, baby. It's yours. It ain't about what your husband think about you, what your wife think about you, what your children, your mama and your daddy think about you. Do you know who you are? If it's rough for you, it's only because you let it be rough. Oh, you got that power. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. This I know. This I motherfucking know. Work, 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 work. You got to labor for that rest, labor for that rest, labor for that rest, labor for that rest. Work, 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 work. Yeah. Now feel that? Feel it. Right, melanated high priest. We got weed, like Darby Dickinson say. We got weed. Use your power, baby. You don't need nobody to pray on you. You got this. You needed that when you was a child. Call you all kind of shit. Say you a witch. You all kinds of things. That's alright though. You're gonna be shaking and moving shit in your life. You're loved, baby. That's all there is for you is love. You just got to open yourself up to it. That's all there is for you is power. You just got to open yourself up to it. Abundance is your inheritance. I love y'all. Good night.